वन्दे गुरुपदद्वन्द्वम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् रक्तशुक्लप्रभामिश्रम् अतर्क्यम् त्रैपुरम् अहः विशुद्धिज्ञानदेहाय त्रिवेदी दिव्यचक्षुषे श्रेयः प्राप्तिनिमित्ताय नमः सोमार्धधारिणे नमो यामिनीनाथरेखालङ्कृत कुन्तलाम् भवानीं भवसन्तापनिर्वापण सुधानदीम् कामरूपप्रदीपे च नीलकूटनिवासिनी निशुम्भशुम्भमथनी कामेश्वरी नमोस्तुते. I'm extremely sorry for a few moments of delay today. I just want to make a small thing. We shall be considering Navadurgas today, Matrikas, and thing we will consider tomorrow. Yoginis, Matrikas, Kuladevata, and Grama Devata. We will consider it tomorrow as a single entity. So we have been seeing the connection of all the topics selected for the 5-day lecture with Devi Kamakhya. And Navadurga, Durga is, or rather, let me put it this way, Devi Kamakhya manifests herself every day in 3 forms. Very interestingly, these 3 forms are exactly the 3 forms in which Devi Kamakshi in Kanchipura also manifests. The manual which speaks about the worship, or which which prescribes how the daily worship should be performed in the Kanchipura, is called as Saubhagya Chintamani. And Saubhagya Chintamani is authored by Rishi Durvasa. In the Saubhagya Chintamani, he makes the reference that Devi is present within the Kamakoshtha, okay, which is the Kshetra, in 3 forms. Prathamatu Mahalakshmi, Dvitiya Tripura Sundari, Tritiya cha Prachanda. These are the 3 forms. So she is present as Mahalakshmi. Second manifested form is that of Tripura Sundari or Tripura or Lalita. The third is Prachanda Chanda or Ugra Chanda. Okay. Now within Kamakshi's Garbhagraha, we see Devi's Sarupa Vigraha with Karacharanadi Avayavas. Okay. She will be seated, okay, on on the Padmasana, and holding 4 arms, Pasha, Ankusha, Dhanur, Bana. Okay, Ikshuchapa and Pushpa Bana. In front of her, there is a Shri Chakra. Right beside her, there is a metallic bronze image of Sarvalayeshwari. And within the Garbhagriha, there is a small passage, or you can call it like a cavern kind of thing, which is called as a Bilakasha. Now, Bilakasha is the place from where Devi Kamakshi's Avirbhava, or her manifestation, happened as per the Kshetra Mahatmya. So she is there as Bilakamakshi, which is the Paraswarupa, which is Mahalakshmi. And this Mahalakshmi corresponds to the Mahalakshmi as described in the Durga Saptashati, in the Rahasyatraya. In the Rahasya Traya, we come across this statement, Sarvasya Adya Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi, who is Sarvasya Adya, who is before anything else was created, one who existed before the creation existed. And then from her, she brings forth Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, and from there, they bring forth Lakshmi, they bring forth Saraswati, they bring forth Parvati, Rudra, Vishnu, Brahma, and then the Srishti takes place. So this Mahalakshmi is the Sarvasya Adya or the Paraswarupa of the Devi. Then as Para, manifest and unmanifest, she is present as the Shri Chakra. Shri Chakra is something which is having a form, yet it is not very distinct. Okay, that Bilakasha is nothing but a cavern, so it's like an Akasha. Okay, so it has no form or anything. So that is why it is Paraswarupa. Whereas the Chakra is the Para Swarupa, attribute with attribute, as well as not something that you can really make out. That is the Swarupa of the Prachanda. And the third is Devi Vigraha, Shri Vigraha of Devi, okay, which is the Apara Swarupa, which is Sundari. Okay, similarly, Kamakhya also manifests every day in these three forms. As Sarvasya Adya, because that is the Adya Pitha, that is the Yoni Pitha, that is the Kama Pitha, from where the entire creation takes place. So she is the source of all Srishti, all creations. She is also Sundari because she is Shodashi. Amongst the Dashamahavidyas in the Kamakhya, the main shrine of Kamakhya is the representation of the Shodashi Mahavidya, which is none other than Tripura Sundari. Ugra Chanda. Now, who is this Ugra Chanda or Prachanda Chanda or Prachanda Chandika? In the Kalika Purana, we hear the narration of Mahishasura Vadha taking place in three different yugas. So there were three different Mahishasuras. See, that is why we believe in a very different concept of Kala. Our concept of time is not linear. Okay? Unlike the Semitic religions, whose timeline started only by around 4,000 and odd years before. So they believed that the world itself was created only around, or they cannot push back any creation beyond 4,000 BC. Okay, so all the confusion in the dates that you are seeing in the Vedas and kind of thing, why is it that the Western scholars are unable to accept a very early date for the Vedas is because it goes completely against the tenets of their religious book. Because as per them, the world itself was created only around 4,000 and odd BC. So how can your Veda come even before my world came into existence? Okay, so this is a tactical problem that they are trying to solve. So if I cannot draw, okay, a line longer than yours, I will try to make your line shorter. So the dating of the Vedas, 1500 BC, 2000 BC, okay, nothing more than that. So anyway, so our concept of Kala is, first of all, not linear. We don't believe that the time is linear like this. We believe in a concept of Kala Chakra. Okay, we know how the Chakra moves. If any of you are trying to answer the question as Chakra moves in cyclical way, think again. Chakra doesn't move in a cyclical way alone. The Chakra moves in a cyclo-linear way. It is moving around and also moving forward. That is how the wheel moves, right? It moves around and moves forward, moves around and moves forward. That is how the different yuga concept is even thought. Okay, that is why the Kala is personified as a chakra for us. That is the best metaphor that you can give for the Kala. So the Yuga Parivartana takes place in three different Yugas. There were three different Mahishasuras. So the very first Mahishasura was destroyed by Devi Prachanda Chandika. The subsequent Yuga, Mahishasura was destroyed by Devi Bhadrakali. And the third Mahishasura was destroyed by Devi Mahishamardini or Durga. So Prachanda Chandika is the form of Durga Devi, and Kamakhya is the one who manifests herself as Prachanda Chandika or Durga. So all the manifestations of Durga are nothing but Devi Kamakhya herself, assuming those different forms for performing different functions. That is why in the Kamakhya Stotra, we come across this link when we say Kamarupa Pradipecha Neelakuta Nivasini. Neelakuta is the mountain. Okay, is this Neelachala, where Devi Kamakhya resides, is the Neelachala mountain. So Neelakuta Nivasini, Nishumbha Shumbha Mathani. And we all know where the Shumbha Nishumbha Vada takes place. The Madhukaita Vada, Mahishasura Vada, and Shumbha Nishumbha Vada, they are all linked with the Durga Parameshwari's legends, which the Saptashati or Chandi speaks about. So who is Durga? As a Shakti, who is Durga? One of the most popular form of Devi, who is worshipped in practically each and every nook and corner of this entire Bharatavarsha. And when I say Bharatavarsha, I am not referring to the current political entity called India. This Bharata is that which is the Bharata Varsha itself, the greater India. We have enough archaeological evidences to show some of the best specimens of sculptures of Durga found as far as Iran. There is a very beautiful statue. It's a huge statue. Obviously, it is completely vandalized. Okay, of Durga Parameshwari, seated on the lion and killing the buffalo demon, Mahishasura. Then we have one very famous and the popular seal. You can go and do a Google search, the Harappan Valley Civilization or the Indus Valley Civilization seal of Durga destroying Mahishasura, exactly the way that you will normally see a Mahishasura Mardini thing. She will be raising the trident, the Trishula, jumping over the Mahisha's head. So this is how that seal is. So the worship of Durga Parameshwari evidences are new. Archaeological evidences are quite sufficiently available from every part of India. And in the Southeast Asia also we get that. So what made this form of Devi so popular? There were certain other forms of Devi which were popular at certain stages, and then somehow their worship seemed to become, or it ceased to be as popular as that. There are certain Devata Visheshas who were worshipped in many places, but then slowly the worship got concentrated to a particular region. Best example is Kartikeya or Muruga or Subramanya. Subramanya at one point was a deity worshipped all over India, as far as Afghanistan. Even now, the the Yazidis, okay, who are a small tribe surviving near the Iran, Iraq, they worship a deity who is very similar to Subramanya. The entire north part of the India, Subramanya worship was very popular. But now, if you see, it is in the pockets of the south. Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, parts of Andhra. So it is a fact. Yeah, in Sri Lanka it is there. And wherever the Tamil diaspora are there, it is there. And there is a Devi called Jeshtha. Not sure how many of you have even seen the form of Jeshtha Devi. Jeshtha Devi would normally be represented. She is considered to be, Jeshtha means elder to Mahalakshmi. Elder sister of Mahalakshmi. She will normally be represented in a figure where she, along with Lakshmi, along with her son, Mandi, okay, would be shown together. Mandi would be with buffalo head, and Shri or Lakshmi will be, okay, on her right, and she will be seated in the middle. Jeshta Devi worship was very, very popular uh, form. Lot of inscriptions as late as the Cholas in the Tamil Nadu or in the southern India, it was popular. Then suddenly, what happened? We are unable to uh, fathom the reasons why that worship completely got uh, cut off from the mainstream. So, unlike any of these, Durga Devi's worship is popular across, popular from whatever time we can even think of, okay, and continues to be so today. So, this, the reason for this, we cannot attribute any single reason. One feature is to see in one's mother dual nature of being the provider and also being the protector. This is something that we can very naturally connect. This is an idea. Because right from the time we grow up, our cognitive skills, when they are just in a very nascent stage of development, we are seeing this bhavana, okay, enacted in front of us day after day. We have seen our mothers or whomsoever, okay, is taking the place of mother in our life, playing both the role of the provider and the protector. And when she is acting out as a protector, she invariably also takes up a form or a role or a function, okay, which is against her normal soft natured. So she becomes wild or furious or angry or something when she has to be the protector. So this was an emotion which people could very easily connect, still connect with the Matra sthana, okay, with the mother deity. So Durga Devi is understood as that protecting force, that providing force. So the equation in the Vedas is of Durga Devi with Agni. Because we know one of the most important discoveries which contributed heavily to the evolution of mankind was that of fire. Until the discovery of fire, which according to the Vedas was brought down to the earth. So it is the Bhrigu Vamsha which brings down or brought down the Agni or the Jata Vedas to Prithvi. Okay. Let's understand it even from the way that we have studied in our modern sciences. The discovery of fire by man. Till that time, the life would have been very, very difficult, very, very restricted. So the fire gave the sense of comfort, a sense of safety, a sense of nourishment also. So Durga Devi is directly in the Vedas equated with Agni, whose protective and nurturing force paved way for the development. That is why the Rig Veda, the Sukta is Jata Vedase Sunavama Soma Maratiyato Nidahati Vedaha Sanaf Parishadati Durgani Vishwa Naveva Sundham Duritat Yagnihi. This is the Durga Sukta found both in Rig Veda as well as in the Yajur. So here Devi is seen as the personification of Agni, Jata Vedas, which is Agni. And another very beautiful aspect of Durga Devi is the word Durga itself. The word Durga is something which is very difficult to cross. That is why the word Durga also means a fort. In many of the Indian languages, the word Durga means a fort. Fort is called as Durga because it is very difficult for someone to, or it should be actually something very difficult for someone to scale, someone to breach. Hence, it is Durga. Okay. So, Devi is someone who is like the fort, becomes your protector, overcoming which nothing else could come and disturb someone. That is one. The second was also someone who destroys all the impediments that comes. Durgati Nashini. One who destroys the Durgati. How does she destroy the Durgati? The mantra says, Naveva Sindhum. Just as the boat helps someone cross the Sindhu, the sea, similarly, Durga Devi is that boat which helps us go across any difficulties. That is why in one of the most famous kritis, Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar, he uses the Bija mantra of Durga, and after that he says, Dum Durge Duritam Hara. Duritam Hara. Remove all the Durita. Because that is the most important function of Durga Parmeshwari. So, the form which is compassionate, yet can be perceived as wrathful when she is protective. Someone who is independent, okay, someone who is invincible, therefore she is Durga. Someone who removes all the suffering, someone who eliminates all the dangers and all the difficulties, that Devatamsha is Durga. In different parts, she has been worshipped in very different uh, um, in sense appearances or representation. For example, normally the the Mahishamardini form, okay, is something we will very popularly see in the eastern belt of India. In the southern belt, you will find the form post Mahishavada. How will you know that it is post Mahishavada? Because normally she will be standing on the Mahishapitha, on the severed head of the Mahisha. Okay, so it is post. And some of the very beautiful uh, uh, representations of Devi Durga, who is called as Kottravai. In the Tamil literature, she is called as Kottravai. And she was considered to be a war deity. Okay, she is considered to be a deity of the war. Almost every part of India it is like that. So anyone who starts for the war, okay, they will worship uh, Durga Parameshwari in her various manifestations, and then only set out for the war. It also involved a lot many other rites, including the Bali Vidhana. And very interestingly, in many things, there is a depiction that we will come across in the southern parts of Navakhanda, where people sever their own head, and that will be depicted next to Devi Durga's no Mahishapita on both sides. Many temples we can see that representation. But anyway, being a war deity, all these representations you can come across, and she is very or the most important forms in which Devi Durga is worshipped is a collection or a cluster form called Navadurga. So this Navadurgas normally in the Navaratra, which is the Sharan Navaratra, is for Durga Parameshwari. See, there are 4 Navaratris in a year. Okay. The Vasanta Navaratri is for Devi Lalita. The Ashadha Navaratri, which starts in a day or two, okay, is in honor of Devi Varahi. Pausha Navaratri is in honor of Devi Matangi or Rajashyamala. Sharan Navaratri is for Devi Durga. There are many other Navaratris also. Uh, there is a Kartika Navaratri for Deepa Durga, and we also have the Pausha Navaratri for Shakambari, and there is a Kali Navaratri also. So many Navaratris, but these are the 4 most popular Navaratras, or at least 2 which is very, very popularly celebrated across, which is the Vasanta Navaratri and the Sharan Navaratri. In the Sharan Navaratri, the 9 days or the 9 nights are used to worship these 9 forms of Durga. Okay. Now, what are these 9 forms? We'll see each of these 9 forms in detail. But the very opening verse of in the Saptashati, which is the Kavacha Stotra, Brahma is asked a question, and in reply to that question, the very opening that Brahma says is, okay, Prathamam Shailaputri cha, Dvitiyam Brahmacharini, Tritiyam Chandraghanteti, Kushmandeti Chaturthakam, Panchamam Skandamateti, Shashtham Katyayani cha, Saptamam Kalaratri cha, Ashtamam Mahagauri cha Ashtamam, Navamam Siddhidatri cha, Navadurga Prakirtita. So these 9 forms of Durga, Navadurgaha Prakirtitaha. These 9 forms, that is Shailaputri, Brahmacharini, Chandraghanta, Kushmanda, Skandamata, Katyayani, Kalaratri, Mahagauri, and Siddhidatri are the Navadurgas. Okay, these are the most popular forms of the Navadurgas. But apart from this, Navadurga is also a term. Let's see where all this term is applicable. And we will look into these 9 forms in little detail. The term Navadurga is also applicable for the Navakanyas. During the Navaratri, the Navakanya Puja is also performed. Starting from the Pratipat, the Kanya ought to be 2 years old. Keep increasing one year. So the second day, the Kanya will be 3 years. The third day, Kanya will be 4 years, like that. So these Navakanyas are also known as Navadurgas. So on the first day, she is called as Kumari. The second day, she is called as Trimurtini. The third day, she is called as Kalyani. The fourth day, she is called as Rohini. Fifth day, she is called as Kalika. The sixth day, she is called as Chandika. The seventh day, she is called as Shambhavi. Then she is called as the Durga and Bhadra. Okay. So these are the second forms or second usage of the word Navadurga. So Navakanyas are also called as Navadurgas. Now, the details of the worship of Navadurga are found in many places. Some are Mula Granthas, like the Devi Upapurana, Devi Mahapurana, Kalika Purana, and there are many compilations. Okay, these compilations were sourcing the material from different Mula Granthas, Pauranika and the Tantrika Granthas, and these compilations were made. For example, Durgopasana Kalpatruma. Okay, this is one of the very popular books, which is a very, very comprehensive account of the various aspects of the Durga worship. Then we have Kritya Kalpataru. Then Durga Puja Tattva, which is very popular in the eastern region. All these are the manuals. In all these, we come across the details. And in Agni Purana, we have a slightly different set of nine Durgas or Navadurgas. They are all form of if you recall the Prachanda Chanda that we were, Chandika that we were talking about, the nine forms of the Prachanda Chandika. So, Rudra Chanda, Prachanda, Chandograha, Chanda, Chandavati, all these. Okay, there is another set of nine Durgas also. It's not just Prathamam Shailaputri. These nine forms are the nine manifestations of of Durga as Prachanda Chandika in the previous Yuga Kalpas. Okay. So, uh, the Devi Durga, as Navadurga, she is also worshipped in many of the villages. Okay, as the Grama Devata. So, normally you will not find um, images or something like that in these places, whether it is Saptamatrikas or the Navadurgas. Images may not be there, but you will have representations in the form of seven stones, okay, or even at times just bricks. They represented the Saptamatrikas or the Navadurgas. So, apart from the worship in the Navaratras, in the villages, the Navadurgas were also worshipped, okay, as a part and parcel of their daily life. But anyway, let's try to see each of these Navadurgas, starting from Shailaputri. The word Shailaputri consists to Shailaputri. Putri is the daughter of Shaila, of the mountain. Okay. So Shailaputri is the aspect of Devi as Parvati. So after the Sati episode, when Devi is born as the daughter uh, of Himavan, she is known as Shailaputri or Parvati. Right? Very interestingly, there is a very important text for the Shaktas, which is called as the Devi Gita. In the Devi Gita, we have a conversation between Devi and Himavan. Himavan performs penance. He performs penance for a very long time, and Devi appears and he asks that Devi should be born as his daughter. So that was the boon that he asked. That was the vara that he asked. And before giving the vara, the conversation that takes place between Himavan and Devi is recorded as the Devi Gita. Very interesting. In sense, interesting is not academically interesting. Okay, it's a very enlightening text from multiple point of views. From the Adhyatma point of view, from the Kalpa, that is from the pujas and rituals point of view also, there are so many eye-opening aspects that it contains. And embryology is completely explained in the Devi Gita. So Devi describes to Himavan what is the process of Shukra Shonita Melanam. Okay, what happens in the first week, what happens in the second week, what happens in the third week, which organs are formed, all this in detail, okay, is described in Devi Gita. But this is a very interesting aspect that one can come across. So anyway, coming to the point. So Shailaputri is that aspect of Durga who, being pleased with the penance of Himavan, accepted to be his daughter. So what does it show? All the Puranika legends where Devi is shown as being born, it is not birth dictated by any karmic influence like it is for all of us. It is a manifestation by her own choice. She decides where to be born, who should be the father or the mother. So, Shailaputri, okay, is an aspect uh, that demonstrates her immense compassion. Otherwise, being born as a daughter, being obedient to the father and the mother, okay, why should she even do it? It's out of her infinite compassion she does it. That's all, nothing else. So that infinite compassion is what Shailaputri is all about. Okay, and uh, when we have the representation of Devi Shailaputri, she is normally shown seated on the vrisha, on the bull, okay, holding a trishula and a padma in her two hands. This is how she is normally depicted. Okay, there may be some changes in some representation, but I am giving you the normal iconographical. The second uh, manifested form is the Brahmacharini. Brahmacharini is one who is ever directed towards the Brahma. Okay? Here, Brahmacharini does not mean someone who is celibate. Yes, that aspect is there. When Devi Parvati was performing penance in order to attain Shiva, okay, the kind of austerities she underwent, that is also a form of thing. But here, the higher level meaning of Brahmacharini is one who is always directed, or one whose attention is always directed towards, okay, uh, the Brahman. Okay, who is Brahman? She herself is the Brahman. Brahman is not something else. She is, okay, but she is demonstrating how the penance should be performed. And one of the best descriptions you will come across is in Kalidasa's Kumar Sambhava, 5th canto. If you have an opportunity, do read. How penance should be performed. You will, everything is there in the book. So she is the Brahmacharini. So she is normally shown in being a Brahmacharini, okay, in white color robes, okay, and with a Japamala in her hand and a Kamandalu, all indicating the tapasya or the penance aspect. The third is Chandraghanta. Now, Chandraghanta, okay, uh, just like the Chandra pleases everyone, okay, just like the Chandra pleases everyone. Devi does not discriminate, okay. There is a very famous thing. Vaneva Harmeva, okay, whether it is the forest or whether it is a palace or a mansion. Samakara Nipato Himakaraha. The moon will evenly spread its moonlight. It will not distinguish, oh, it is just a forest, so let me give. little, and this is a mansion. Let me uh, send more rays there. Samakara Nipataha. So Devi is like that Chandra, whose grace evenly trenches everyone. Only thing is, are we uh, are we attuned to recognize that grace? There is one story in Shiva Purana. Devi and uh, uh, Shiva, on they were going on their Vrishavahana, and in Kashi, Devi asked, in your own Rajdhani, which is the capital, why are people suffering? It is their destiny, they will suffer. Said, no, 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 you cannot allow it to happen. Said, look, can't help it. Said, no, no, you need to, because she's Avyaja Karanamurti. So he says, okay, look at the beggar there. Yes. Okay, let me drop a purse of gold. Okay. He drops the purse of gold. At that time, the beggar thinks, I am not getting any money. So let me now act like I am a blind beggar. Probably I'll earn a few pennies more. So he closes his eyes. Does not notice a bag full of gold coin lying in front of him. So we are all like that. We are not attuned to receive that grace. The grace is there. Okay, we cannot only recognize there's grace. Anyway, so Chandraghanta is that aspect of Devi. At the same time, the Ghanta means a bell. Okay, so normally the neck region is compared to the thing. So that is an iconographical feature. But uh, in one of the Vyakhyanas, there are Sapta Vyakhyanas for Saptashati. In one of the Vyakhyanas, very beautiful thing. The Ghanta um, gives rise to Nada, a reverb sound. It's not just any sound, it is a reverb sound. Okay. So, till this, the throat region, okay, it is all the instruments for producing the sound. But the reverb comes when the sound goes and hits the roof, okay, the roof of the skull. From there only the reverb comes. Okay, so that is the nada. Even in the yoga, the nada aspect is right above the agnya. So Chandraghanta in the yoga marga represents the subtle sound, or you can call it as the after sound. Okay, the silence that follows the sound. Okay, that subtle aspect of the mantra yoga or the nada yoga is the Devi Chandraghanta. And why Chandra? Because Chandra is the Chandra Mandala, which is the head region. Okay, the topmost region. So she is Chandraghanta. Kushmanda. Kushmanda is two types of thing. She is an Ashtabhuja Devi. Okay, iconographically she has 8 hands: Chakra, Gada, Dhanushara, Kamandalu, Japamala, Amrita Kalasha. Okay. Um, One interpretation of the Nama Kushmanda is one who despises things which are deplorable in nature. Okay, Kushmanda Shabda is used in the Vedas to denote that which is deplorable, that which is not again, or that which is not something that we normally prefer to experience. Okay, but it also is the Ushma, the warmth, which helps the entire under, okay, the egg to hatch. See, the entire world is compared to an egg, a cosmic egg, which we called as the Hiranyanda. Okay, also the Brahmanda. Okay, so what does the mother or the father bird do? It provides warmth, okay, uh, for the eggs to hatch. So, kinchit ushnam Okay. The Ushna, which is as much required for that function. Okay. So that Kushma and so that Ku is little, Ushma, the heat. So she is that comforting nature which nurtures life, which gives birth to life, which nurtures life. So this is a very beautiful explanation that we find for Devi Kushmanda's now. Skandamata, one who is the mother of Skanda. So normally she is shown with baby Skanda seated on her lap. Okay, in the representation. This is um, in the Chandogya Upanishad. If you recall, yesterday or day before, I was trying to mention about a legend of a conversation between Sanat Kumara and Narada Maharshi. The Sanat Kumara and Narada Maharshi. Okay, so Sanat Kumara is a Brahmagyani. Sanat Kumara is a Brahmagyani. Sanat Kumara prays to Devi Uma Haimavati that he should be born as her son. So, Skandamata as a form represents that pristine, that pure form of love and motherhood that even jnanis, what is a jnani? Jnani is someone who doesn't have a rebirth, right? That's our basic understanding of a jnani. He does not have a Paschimam Janma, does not have another birth. And jnani wants to be born as her son. So that can inform us what kind of Swarupa hers is. And Skanda is born, Sanat Kumara is born as Skanda. So that is how the Chandogya Upanishad ends. Saskandaha iti abhidiyate, Saskandaha iti abhidiyate. So Sanat Kumara is Skanda. So Skanda Mata. Then next is Katyayani. Very interesting, but yeah, we have some time now. We started late. Okay. So Katyayani is the um, very interesting form or manifestation of Devi. One who was adopted by Rishi Katyayana, therefore she is Katyayani. Okay. This much with a little bit of Sanskrit we can understand. Why was she even adopted as a daughter by Rishi Katyayana? It is said that in the Kailasha, see, all we have seen, all these leelas are for Lokakshema. Okay. So in Kailasha, once Devi sportively no, covers the eyes of Shiva. Now the eyes of Shiva are Chandra and Surya. The whole world becomes blind. There is no light in the world. There is no light in the world. It only happens for that split or for that few seconds. But we know once again, no, there is a time dilation concept that only we could think of. All right. So in our higher lokas, 1 second is many yugas in the earth. Okay, so we come across this time dilation in 2, 3 places. One is the famous Balarama, yeah, correct. The Rohini episode. Revati episode. Balarama Revati episode. Okay, uh, in Mahabharata as well as in the Bhagavata Purana. The other is here. Okay, in this episode. So Shiva says, no, no, it has been several yugas in the earth that there has been no light. So the world has suffered. So you have to do prayaschitta. Go to the earth and perform penance. So Devi appears, assuming a human form. She, her avatarana, her landing on the earth takes place in Kedareshwara. So first she worships Kedareshwara, and from there she walks. On the way, she meets Katyayana Maharshi. and he adopts her as a daughter. And after a few years, he tells her that no, your Tapobhumi is not here. You have to go down further south to see your Tapobhumi. And he gives her 12 different objects. And he says, where they change their form, know that to be your Tapobhumi. Right? So it's nothing but Chamara, Kamandalu, Mala, and all this. So she comes, and when she's on the way, Kashi is in drought. Ganga has dried out. Kashi is suffering. No food, no water. So, unable to see the suffering, she assumes the form of Devi Annapurna. Okay? For 7 continuous days, she feeds. And finally, Ganga flows in her glory. And when she is pleaded by the bhaktas, she says, from now onward, no one will suffer from any drought or hunger in this Kashi. Okay, so she is there as Annapurna. Then once again, she walks out from the place. The moment she reaches Kanchi or Kanchipura, all those 12 things change forms. Okay, then she knows that this is the Tapobhumi. So she forms one Saikata Linga, a sand linga, under Eka Amra, a single mango tree, and she performs penance. Now to test, okay, the river Kampa, okay, is in floods. Mahavishnu becomes, no, first one of her Shaktis, okay, Pralaya Bandhini or Pralayakala Bandhini. She comes as a Pralayakala Bandhini and gathers all the flood waters. Still, Shiva wants to test. The water is rising. Then Mahavishnu, okay, he comes and becomes like a dam and protects. But before that, Devi, in order to protect that sand linga, okay, embraces the sand linga. So that is how you find Devi Kamakshi in the Ekambra Kshetra, okay, that Ekambreshwara temple, that Kamakshi Devi, okay, in a Nalingana Mudra with the Ekambra Linga. All right. In the Kamakoshta, Kamakshi is different. Okay. That Kamakshi is different. This is a different manifestation. All right. Then he says, okay, I will marry you, but not here. Go to Arunachala. So she comes all the way to Arunachala or Tiruvannamalai. All right. And performs. And there she meets Gautama Maharshi. She lives in the ashram of Gautama Maharshi. There is also an episode of a Mahishavada there. She performs a Mahishavada there and continues her penance. And Shiva appears, and the marriage takes place on the Kartika Purnima. And on the day of the marriage, which is Kartika Purnima, they fuse with one another and appear as Ardhanarishwara. So the Jyoti Darshana that we all have in the temple there every year during the Kartika Purnima is this uh, the Ardhanari Swarupa of Shiva Shakti. Okay, that we have or that we see as the Jyoti. Yeah, this is there in the Skanda Purana. Arunachala Mahatmya Khanda, Skanda Purana. So this is Katyayani Devi. Okay. Also, the Kanyakumari is also considered to be the Katyayani Swarupa. Then we have the Kalaratri, the seventh one who is the Ratri for the Kala, one who is the destroyer of the time itself. That is why the form of Devi Kalaratri is also very symbolic. Okay, dark complexion, okay, bloodshot eyes, the red garland, red robes, unkept hair. Okay, all this just to show that she is the destroyer of time. And Mahagauri. Mahagauri is, the legend says that during a conversation, Shiva called her the dark complexion or Kali when she was dark in complexion. She was very quickly rose to uh, rage, and from her body, Devi appeared, okay, turning her completely fair in complexion. So that manifestation is considered to be Mahagauri. Okay. But what is the significance of this particular Avirbhav? Rat, the dark color is that which contains or that which has the ability to pull everything to itself. Okay. So that is why it is a normally a color associated with pre-creation state or form. Okay, where everything is in its karana avastha, in its causal form, where everything is pulled into its karana avastha. Whereas the karya avastha is always represented as light, okay, as fair. So Mahagauri is that aspect of Devi who is responsible for bringing forth the manifestation, which was previously withdrawn. As Kalaratri, she has withdrawn, which is being reprojected. See, this is a cyclical, okay, creation is cyclical for us. So what goes back in the Praha has to come out. So this coming out or the projection is what is Mahagauri. The last is Siddhidatri. Someone has to put an end to all the this entire cycle, right? This cycle of samsara chakra has to stop. So she is Siddhida or Siddhidatri, one who bestows the siddhi, and the highest siddhi is considered to be being siddha. Okay, being what you already are, being establishing yourself in your own nature. We call it as moksha. Okay, so Siddhidatri is one who bestows the moksha. So the four ayudhas that she bears in her hand, which is the chakra, the shankha chakra, and gada padma. Just like Mahavishnu, she is holding the shankha chakra and gada and the padma to show these four aspects. What are the four? Chakra, that which cuts the bondages, okay, through the form of listening to the advice given or listening to the upadesha given by the guru or by the Sat Shastra, which is what the Shankha is. Shankha is the Nada or the Shabda. So through following the Upadesha, you cut the thing. Gada, and cutting is not something that will give rise to it again, but you crush it. Okay, so there is no, see, there are at an Adhyatma level, I will tell this and I will close. In the Tantragamas, there are three malas which are responsible for the manifestation. The first is called as the Anava, then is the Mayika and the Karma mala. So this Mayika and the Karma mala can be destroyed by our individual efforts, by doing all the sadhanas, mantra sadhana, puja, etc., etc. You can be rid of the Karmika and the Mayika mala. But still, that individuality, okay, as a separate individual, is caused by the Anavamala. And this Anavamala cannot be destroyed merely by our own efforts. For this Anavamala to go, as per the Tantragama Shastra, it is only Ishvara who can do that. So, cutting away through the chakra is removing the karma and the maya mala, okay, which you can do by following the shastra and others. But it is the gada, which is nothing but the direct grace of Ishvara, which crushes the very seed of this individuality, which is the Anavamala, resulting in the Padma, which is a form of grace. Therefore, she is the Siddhi Datri.